Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So in this series that I'm beginning today, we'll be talking about HTML. Now, HTML is one of the fundamental technologies that you need to learn if you want to become a web developer. Okay, so before we start, there are two things that you need to put in place. You need to have a browser. Now, this will be a browser of your choice. You can use Safari, you can use Edge, you can use Chrome, or even Firefox. In this tutorial, I'm using browser. So we need the browser because we use it to read the HTML document, and then we use it as well. We use the browser so that it will display the HTML document that we've just written. The other thing that you need is you need an editor. Now there are many different types of editors out there, but because we just be creating basic HTML pages, you can search for Notepad. So we'll be using Notepad to create our HTML web pages. And so I've opened up the Notepad, and so guys, here we begin our HTML. So what is HTML? HTML is nothing but a hypertext markup language. We use it to describe the structure of our web page, how our web page is going to look like. Okay, so HTML consists of a series of elements. Now, these elements are there to tell the browser how to display the content which is within our HTML documents. I hope you got that. Okay, so I'm going to begin writing the structure. We have to know, or we have to see how the structure of an HTML page looks like. Okay, so the first thing that we need at the beginning of every HTML document, we need to have this declaration. So I'm going to write it. So this declaration, its main job is to tell the browser what kind of document it is, or it talks about the version of HTML document that we are preparing. Now, over the years, lots of a number of HTML versions have been developed. Now, currently, we are using HTML5. So when you make this declaration, you are basically telling the browser that this document is written in HTML5. I hope we got that. Okay. So going on, at the beginning of every HTML document, we have the HTML tag, which is, and also an ending of HTML. So we have the opening HTML tag and the closing HTML tag. Now, I want to make one thing clear here. When an HTML element is surrounded by these are the left angle and the right angle, it becomes an HTML tag. Okay, so whenever an HTML element is surrounded by the left angle and the right angle, it becomes what? An HTML tag. Now, when we render this document into our browser, the HTML tags are not rendered. Only the content which is being carried by these HTML tags is rendered. Okay, so the other thing that makes up the structure of our HTML tag is the head. So within the head tag, this is where metadata information about our web page is defined. Okay, so within the head tag, this is where information regarding our web page is defined. For example, the title of our web page is defined within the opening head and the closing head tag. All right. The other tag that makes up the structure of the basic HTML document is the opening and closing body tag. Now, let me give you an example. Let's visit any of these sites so that you see what I'm talking about. So we visited BBC. BBC. Now when you open a BBC website, the first thing that is presented to you is what? The home page. Alright, now when you look at the home page, at the top of the browser you see here, this is the title, which is a Home BBC. Now this title is defined within the head tag. Okay, so this title here is defined within the what? Within the head tag. So what we're going to do is this. So within the head tag, I'm going to write a tag which is the title tag. So the title tag basically gives you the title of what? The title of your homepage. So what will be the title of our homepage? Okay, I'm going to use the same one for Home BBC. So we're going to say Home BBC News. Alright, so in order for us to display this HTML document that we just created, the first thing that we need is we need to do what? We need to save it. So when saving it, I created a folder. Where is my folder where I'm going to save it? Okay, so I created a folder here, HTML. This is where we are going to save our what? Our HTML document. Now, when you look down here, there is a save as type. Within here, we're going to change it to all files. Now, we need to give the name of our file. So I'm going to call it what? Index. Now, the name of our file is index. Now, when the browser tries to render this document, it doesn't know what type of document it is. So we can let the browser know what kind of document it is when we add an extension. So you add an extension by using the full stop, and then you add the extension. So the extension for HTML is HTML, or if you want, you can just say HTML. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you can save now. Let's go back to our folder where we saved the file. So we have here, oh, we saved it here. So when we try to run here, you can see that on top of our web page we have the what? The title, which is Home BBC, just like the title for the official BBC website. Alright, so what we are saying is the title always is defined in where? In the head tag. Now, just like every article that you write, there has to be a heading, and there has to be a paragraph, and there has to be all those kind of elements that make up a good article. So if you want to define an article element in your web page, you use this tag, heading tag. Okay, so the head tag comes in different sizes, H1 being the strongest tag that you can use. So what am I saying? So when you define your heading tag, what can we write here? Let's talk about what can we talk about? We can talk about politics, right? So the head tag is politics. So when you try to save, Control S on your keyboard, and then you refresh the web page, what comes here? Politics. You know, the heading is very big and it's in bold. It's looking big and all that. So the heading tries to talk about how strong your heading is supposed to be. So H1 defines the largest what? Heading, and then we've got H2, we've got H3 up till H6. So sometimes when you want to have a larger heading and then a subheading as well, you can do that. So we can just copy this, come down, and then paste. And so what do? We can say H4. So the bigger the number, the smaller the heading. So for example, we can say politics, but what kind of politics? We can say Zambian politics, and then Control S, and then we come back and refresh here. You can say here there is a Zambian politics. So the main heading is politics, the subheading is Zambian politics. Now the other thing that we might be interested to put in our menu body is the paragraph. So when you're trying to write a paragraph in a basic HTML document, we use the P tag, alright, which has got an opening and a closing tag. So the P tag basically allows you to put your information as a a paragraph. So for example, about Zambian politics, we know that in Zambia, politics is free and fair. Everyone can vote. Alright, so this is an example for a paragraph that I've written. So when I hit Control S, and then we can see our paragraph, which is written here. So we have got our main heading, and then we've got a subheading, and then we've got what? The paragraph. So guys, this is the basic HTML document. So just to recap, at the beginning of every HTML document, we have the what? The doc type HTML, which is trying to talk about the version of HTML that we are using. So the browser, when the first thing it does is it looks at the beginning here and says, okay, so this is HTML5, right? Now, every HTML has got, at the beginning, is defined with what? An HTML opening and HTML closing tag. And within it, we've got the what? The head and then the body structure. In the head tag, we use it to define the title, more information about the website or the web page, with things to do like who is the author, who wrote this website and all that. So everything is what? Defined within the what? The head. And then in the body, this is where everything that you are seeing here, is defined where? In the body tag. Okay, so guys, I hope that you are able to write your first basic HTML page. Now in the coming tutorials, we're gonna look at other different HTML tags and then other things. So I hope guys you subscribe and then continue learning. Thank you so much, and see you later.